Hi guys and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a full face of Victoria Beckham Beauty featuring the new eyeshadow that's just dropped, and that is in the shade Cocoa, and I'm really excited to try it out. Haven't tried it yet. I do think the color story is really beautiful. Those beautiful rich chocolate browns, and I really love a brown eyeshadow. I already have primer on, and that's not actually a Victoria Beckham Beauty one. That is the Chanel mattifying one, because I'm going to use the new Victoria Beckham foundation, and I have oily skin, so I need a primer that is just a little bit more mattifying. Now, I did a dedicated video on this foundation, so I'll link it up here if you want to take a look. So now it's springtime here in New Zealand, and the weather it's a bit cooler today, but in general it is a little bit warmer. And I did say in my video that I think this is a foundation that's probably going to be more suited for me in the cooler months. That's autumn, fall, winter, and early spring like now. Although one thing that surprised me with this, I'm just going to give it a shake, because you need to give it a shake before you use it. One thing that surprised me with this foundation is that once I powdered it down, it stayed really beautiful the whole day. So I'll see what it's like today, since the weather, I'm going to be going outside later and doing different things with my sheep. They need to have a foot bath, and I'm not going to go into that. I might actually video that and put something up at a later date, because there's a few people inquiring about these new sheep that I have recently purchased. So this is what the foundation's like. And I'm just going to put it on the left side first, and I'm going to grab my Victoria Beckham brush. I think this one's called the Buffer brush, and I really like this for putting foundation on. Now this foundation is really beautiful. I'm not quite sure which shade I've got this on. It might, I can't quite read it. I don't want to tip the bottle upside down, but everything that I'm putting on my face today, it will be listed and linked in the description box below. I wasn't too sure about the shade of this when I had to decide which one to get, but I'm really pleased with the shade that I did decide to pick up. So initially you get this really glowy, dewy type of look. So those with normal to dry skin would just absolutely love this foundation. But for me, I do have to powder it down. But I love the way that it blends into my skin. It really does look very seamless. So just with what's left on my brush, I'm just going to put a little bit on my eyelid and a little bit under my eye as well. Now you can build this up slightly. I'll probably build it up a little bit more through here, but really this is all about a very natural looking foundation, and it gives just really beautiful natural look. So if you take a look at that link that I put up previously, you'll see this in natural light as well. So with all that foundation on now, it really does look beautiful. But because of my oily skin, I do have to powder this down, but I do think it looks gorgeous. Now for concealer, I'm going to use the Victoria Beckham, the concealer pen. Now the other day I reviewed the brand new Chanel Ultra Le Tint concealer, and I absolutely love that. But this is also really beautiful. It doesn't give as much coverage as the new Chanel one, but I love how this looks. This gives a very natural look. It is light towards medium. I'm just taking my BK Beauty brush just to blend this out. This has really beautiful skincare ingredients in it as well. But I think it is really flattering on my mature skin. It doesn't settle into my wrinkles. And it also lasts really well throughout the day as well. It's just really, really beautiful. So just keep blending that out the other side with the brush. And then just before I set it down with powder, I will go over it, just very lightly press it in using my fingers. Now I could build that concealer up a little bit more if I wanted to, but really with a concealer, I just like to use the bare minimum that I can. And I just like that more of a natural look. So for eyeshadow primer, I'm going to use the Nars one. Just pop a little bit of this on. And then for my eyebrows, I will use a Victoria Beckham product. I'll use her eyebrow pencil. So with Victoria Beckham Beauty products, there are a couple of products for eyebrows. You can use the Feather Fix if you want to, and this is a really good product as well. It's sort of like, it's really an all-in-one. It has a little brush in it, and it styles and keeps your eyebrows in place and also fills them in at the same time. Or you can just use one of the pencils. I use either one. I probably gravitate more towards the pencil. And the shade I have this one in, it is Taupe. And I do like a finer eyebrow pencil like this one, because I've mentioned it a lot of times before, but I don't fuss around with my eyebrows a lot. Really what I want to do is just fill in any gaps, if there are any gaps, and just a general tidy up. And then to keep that in place, I'm going to use the Benefit 24-hour brow setter. So now I'm going to set my concealer down, but just before I do that, I'll just take my fingers and just press over top of the concealer. I do this with all my concealers. I just find by doing that, it perfects the concealer. So just a tiny bit on my finger. This is the Tom Ford Soft Matte Architecture Powder. And just pop a little bit over top of the concealer. And just the smallest amount just helps to set it down. And this powder is wonderful because I have oily skin, although really under my eyes it isn't oily, but it's not dry either. And because I'm not using a dry powder, it doesn't emphasize wrinkles. So I find a powder that has skincare ingredients in it, like a hyaluronic acid, although they're not the best for the rest of my face with my oily skin, for under my eyes, that type of powder is just perfect. So to set my foundation down, I'm going to use the Chanel Natural Finish Loose Powder. I've actually got a little bit of this in the cap. I've got my Mer brush. As I said, I don't think it's going to be overly warm today. So I'm not going to put a huge amount of powder on, but enough just to set this foundation down. And for bronzer, another Victoria Beckham Beauty product. This is the bronzing brick. I think this is the one in shade 02. And another Victoria Beckham Beauty brush. This is number 15. I also have this bronzing brick in number 3 as well, but often I prefer this one. I just like that very small hint of warmth. I don't like bronzer too overdone. And Victoria Beckham Beauty is known for the clean beauty products. And with some brands, their products tend to go off fairly quickly. But I purchased this probably about 3 years ago, probably more. And I'm not quite sure what the use by date is on it, but it's probably something like 12 months. But it still just performs and blends out really beautifully. And also quite a while ago, I picked up one of her contour sticks as well. So I think I'll put some of that on today. I'm not going to put on too much, just a little bit through here. I don't use contour a lot, but when I do, it's really just here. I just use the smallest amount. I'm just using the Sonia G. This is the sheer buffer, just to blend that contour out. Now, of course, if you want to, with the contour, you can put that on once you put your foundation on, but I find that sometimes I put it on that way, or sometimes I wait till I've powdered my face, and I find that it works really well either way, and I really like it, and I love this shade too. I'm not quite sure which shade this one is either. I will look it up. I can't quite see on here, but I will list it down below if you want to take a look. So now let's get into this gorgeous eyeshadow. As I said, I haven't tried this yet and I'm dying to try it out. I think the color story just looks really beautiful. So you can pick this up as a refill or pick up the case as well. Of course, it is cheaper if you just pick up the refill. And if you've purchased these before, then it's easy. It's just a magnetic just to slip it in and take it out. So it's easy to interchange the different eyeshadows that you want to use. But the packaging on these it's really beautiful and it feels really luxurious as well. So here is the color story Cocoa. It's just so beautiful. So here it is swatched from left to right in the pan. So here you've got a satin, next you've got a matte, a metallic, and another matte. Just beautiful. And this shade here, I think, is going to just look so gorgeous and be able to lighten up the look a bit. Just gorgeous. So when this eyeshadow was released, also a brown mascara was released as well. Now I didn't pick up the brown mascara. The eyeliner that is also part of this as well in Cocoa, that was released a little while ago, but there's also another shade of the Cocoa as well, and that is part of the dual eyeliners, so perhaps that's got a little bit of sparkle in it, but I didn't pick up that one either. I picked up this, and I also got a backup of one of the other eyeliners that I use a lot from Victoria Beckham, and that's the one in Smoky Quartz. Now I did pull out my Cocoa eyeliner to use today, but what I might do is actually, because this shade, it's a matte and it's so beautiful and deep, I may use that as an eyeliner today instead of the Cocoa one. We'll just see how it goes. So I'm going to take my reference number 14, and I'm going to start off with this shade here. This one is a matte. Now I'm just going to go fairly easy. Definitely picks up with these, just like the other ones. There is a lot of pigment in these, so take that through the crease, and possibly might have picked up a little bit too much, but just like with the other ones, it is blending out really beautifully. Actually, no, I think that was the perfect amount that I picked up. So I'm also going to just blend that up onto the brow bone as well. Next, I'm going to go into this shade here, and I think what I'll do with this one is I'm going to put this all over the lid. I'm using a reference brush. It's the reference number 02. This is a really beautiful shade, and I think this would look really beautiful just on its own. And I'm going to stay with that shade, use the reference number 03, and I'm going to put some of this on my lower lash line. And no issues with it blending out, it's just really beautiful at this stage. So next I'm going to go into this deeper shade here. I've got my reference number 14, and I'm going to put that in the outer corner, and I'm just very lightly tapping into the pan because it is so pigmented, and I can always add a little bit more if I want to, but it is the most beautiful shade. Now I'm going to sweep this up onto my brow bone as well, then go back to the reference number 3, staying with this shade. I'm also going to put a little of this on my lower lash line as well, and I'm just going to put this on the outer third. So I'm just going to use the other side of the reference number 02, and now we're going to go into this shade here. I think this is going to look really, really beautiful. Again, just going in fairly easy. I can always add a little bit more if I want to, but look how it just lightens up that look. It's a really stunning shade. It's so beautiful. I did think that it would look really beautiful, and I'm not disappointed. It's really gorgeous. Now you can get a lot more punch out of this if you want to. You can apply it using your finger. You can even wet your brush if you want to, but I think just using the dry brush, I'm getting enough payoff. And I'm also going to put some of that shade in the inner corner as well. So I just think this looks gorgeous. Now I am going to add a little bit more of the deeper shade. Picked up a smaller brush, a little bit more dense, but it's still fluffy as well. And I'm just going to add just a small amount just in the outer corner there, just to really give it just that little bit more of extra depth. So I went in fairly easy with this deepest colour to begin with, but you can certainly build it up if you want to, and you can get even more than I am now. You get this really dramatic smoky eye if you wanted to. Then I'm just taking a fluffy brush, and I just want to, just going gently, that shade I just put on, and I just want to blend it out just slightly. And I think I will use that deeper shade to line my upper lash line as well. So I'm just going to wet a brush, and this is the La Prairie Skin Caviar, the mist, and that's what I have in front of me, but you can use water if you want to, or any setting spray that you have as well. And then I just give the brush a little wipe on my microfiber cloth in front of me. And now I'm just going to go into that deeper shade and use that as an eyeliner. Now you could, by doing this, just use it dry as well. You don't have to wet your brush. Either way, it's just fine. I just feel like you get, sometimes when you wet your brush, it just helps a little bit more when you're using an eyeshadow as an eyeliner. So here is the finished eye look. And I love it. I just love this colour story, and I've got about 3 others of her newer ones as well, but this is definitely my favourite, and it's because of that light through there. I just think it's gorgeous. Now for blush today, I did pick up the new, it's the Victoria Beckham, the Colour Wash. I haven't used this yet either, and there are 3 different shades. I got the one in coral, so this is really, from what I've read, it's really just supposed to be a wash of colour. And what it comes in, so it has like a small dripper. Now there's probably some people that go straight onto the cheek, but I don't like doing that, so I don't know if you have to, but I'll just give this a little shake and just pick some of the product up with the dropper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just place this on the back of my hand. Now, because I haven't used this before, I'm not quite sure how much that I'm going to need. I think to put it on, I'll use the Sonia G, the Sheer Buffer, which I've just wiped down. So that is what it looks like on the back of my hand. So it's quite runny, but it is supposed to just give this wash. So we'll just see how sheer this is. They also have the shade, and there was the red as well, which I also think could look really beautiful. But I do love a coral blush as well. Now this is quite sheer, although I didn't put much on. But I do love a sheer wash of colour on my cheeks. So there's still this much left. So just going to add a little bit more. It feels really nice going on. And if I remember, once I've uploaded this video up to YouTube, I will put a comment and just let you know how I thought this wore throughout the day. But I love the look of that sheer wash of colour. I think it's really pretty. I'm not finding any issues with it going on. I haven't seen any other reviews on this either, so I'm not quite sure what other people thought of it. But from my first time using it, I think it looks really pretty, and there's still quite a bit on the back of my hand. Now the amount, I'm going to pick the rest of that up. The amount that I've got on is really perfect for my everyday makeup, but I'll just pick up what's left. I think it looks really pretty. It actually does leave a stain, so you can see the stain that's on my hand. So I think this is going to wear really well. And apparently you can also put this on your lips just to give that really washed little stain of a shade as well. I like it. I think it looks really pretty. Now I also pulled out one of the Victoria Beckham, the highlighters. There's a couple of shades in this, I think. And what I'm going to do is just pick some up using my finger and just dot a little bit on my cheekbone, not too much. This just gives the most beautiful highlight. It's very subtle. It's not moonbeams, but you can still see there's a highlight. And this product goes really well with my oily skin as well. So you can see you just got that little bit of a highlight. And then for lipstick, I'm going to use one of the Victoria Beckham lip liners, and then also one of her Posh lipsticks as well. Here is the finished look, and I just think it is so gorgeous. I love this eyeshadow. It's such a beautiful color story, and I think at the moment this is sold out on the Victoria Beckham website, but it should start showing at other retailers fairly soon. So when it is, I will put it to my Instagram stories as well as my community page. Just beautiful. And I love this shade here. I just love it how it's lightened up through here and also looks really pretty in the inner corner. I do think this shade here would look really beautiful just on its own as well, just for a one and done. And you could also probably just pop a little bit of that just in the inner corner to give some highlight. Use this as your eyeliner, and I think that would be a really gorgeous look as well. It's just beautiful, and it also blended out really beautifully as well. The foundation is looking pretty good at the moment. I don't think I need to powder it, not at this stage. As I said, I've got to go out later and do some work on the farm, so I'll just see how this performs for the rest of the day, and I'll add that to my pinned comment as well if I remember, and let you know how this wore. Now this color wash is actually really pretty. You don't get a huge amount of product, but I really didn't put a lot on the back of my hand either, and for me I certainly got enough payoff, and you can still see that there is that stain there, and if I touch where it's gone on, it doesn't feel sticky or tacky in any way. It actually dries down really beautifully. I think this is a really lovely product. There might be people that want more punch when they put on a blush, but if you really want that beautiful wash of color, then I think these are really good. Again, I will let you know how this has performed throughout today, but if it's anything from the back of my hand to go by, I think it's going to stand up to a lot of hours of wear. And of course the Victoria Beckham, her lip liners and her Posh lipsticks are really beautiful. One thing about her lipsticks that I really love is that they do come in these slimline cases, and the bullet of the lipstick is really thin as well. I just think that they look really chic, and I also love the formula of them as well. So let me know in the comments below if you've picked up this new eyeshadow. Have you tried out the Color Wash blush, and have you picked up her new foundation yet? And what do you think of the products if you did buy them? So that's it for today's video. I would love it if you gave it a like and subscribed, and I will see you next time. Bye.